Good day. I am Teacher Girly. Our lesson in speaking for this week is Unit 1 of your Oxford student book with a big question, where are we in the universe? Specifically about talking about differences. Now, before we will be able to talk about it, we first need to understand what are differences. So differences means a point or differences mean a point or way in which people or things are not the same. So basically it is something that makes two people, two things or two pictures not the same with each other. Second is it is the feature or point that makes unlikeliness or dissimilarity. So meaning to say, difference or differences only points out to what is not the same between two people, two objects, two things, or two pictures. So you have to remember differences mean not the same. What is not the same between them? Now, for you to be able to differentiate things, you just don't just say the words like they're not the same. What are the things that they're not the same? The color, the size? No, you have to put it in the sentence in speaking. You have to organize your thoughts. Now in organizing your thoughts, we have here things we have here words that can help you, words that automatically mean difference or dissimilarity. So we have here transition words for contrast. You can study this. So the color differentiation. So those words that have the same color have the same function in the sentence, or they mean almost the same. So you can use them, okay, the same way. So for me here, I use usually the word yet, but. On the other hand, I also use rather, however, I use despite. These are also the commonly used words. Otherwise are always being used. Instead, in comparison, this is when you're comparing to something. Like you're comparing two pictures, and then in comparison, you point out also what is different between them. I also use while, whereas, unlike, I use a lot. I also use although and on the contrary. So that personally is what I usually use. But you can actually study these words on your own. Since you're just staying at home, you can study this word on your own and try to use them in the sentence also in talking about the difference. Okay, so if you already understood what you're going to talk about, which is the differences, like if you're giving two pictures or two things, you first need to differentiate them. You have to spot what makes them different from each other. Now, if you already have that information, you already know what's different between the objects that you have, you can use these words to speak about the differences that you actually noticed in two pictures or two objects. Now, with that, we have here a little spot the difference activity. You can get any sheet of paper that you have, and then you can spot the difference between two pictures that I will be showing you, and the answer also will be in the video, so you can try to see if you have a quick eyes to notice the difference between two pictures, and then later on we will discuss. Okay, so be ready, have your pen and paper. I'll be starting the video now. So after the video, were you able to find all the difference in each photos? If you have, then you have a very quick eye in noticing the differences between pictures, and this won't be hard for you. Okay, so since you're able to exercise the eyes in how quick you will be able to notice the difference, now we have to form it into the sentence using the words that we discussed earlier. So here, number 1, in the picture 2, the dog is wearing a green collar around its neck, while the picture in number 1 don't. So basically, the words in red are the words transitioning to contrast that we are using. So for this number 1, you can state first what the other picture have, then while what the other picture don't. Okay? So number 2, the position of its tail in picture number 1 points upward, whereas it is pointing downwards in picture number 2. And then you can also use two words transitioning to contrast. You can construct your sentence a bit longer. For the third one, I make it like a reasoning sentence. So the color of the dog's belly differ from each picture because unlike the first picture, the dog in the second picture has plain brown belly. So I just state what the other picture have. Okay, so for this example, we used while, whereas, differ, and unlike. Now here, there are 5 things that make this picture different from each other. So I have here three example sentences. So the first one is very simple. The picture on the left has red apple, but the other has green. So that's a very simple sentence. Now you can also put the transitioning to contrast on the first part of your sentence. So rather than having 2 leaves on the apple stalk, the picture on the left side only has 1. So that's the second way of putting it. Now for this one, I pointed out 2 things in one sentence. So that's what makes the sentence longer. So the picture on the left has 5 flowers on the ground and two sets of clouds in the sky. However, the picture on the right only has 4 flowers and 1 set of cloud. So you can spot the difference or discuss the difference in a very simple sentence. You can also put the contrasting word on the first part of your sentence, or you can also discuss it by spotting 2 differences in one sentence. Okay, so that's for speaking this week. I do hope that you will be able to expand on this. You can practice with the remaining 2 pictures from the video so that you will be able to master the talking about the difference. Okay, thank you very much and have a great week.